Welcome to CowCast, where we talk about everything Overwatch and anything random that pops in our heads. And there's our... Okay, so with that all done, I guess we should move into actually discussing something Overwatch related. So, we just had all of the new season changes hit and come through. Where do we want to start inside of this? I guess with the new way ranked is going to work, with the ranking system where we have tiers now, and how there's going to potentially be ties, and the new time mix.
There's like hella numbers too. I didn't really look too much into it, so this is gonna be more informative for me as well. I'm gonna learn today.
I'm excited. I'm excited you go.
Teach me something. Learn me something.
All right. So pretty much what we've got is instead of a 1 to 100 system, we've got a 1 to 5,000 system. So mainly you're going to bounce ranks a lot faster from what it feels like, but instead of having those little ticks as you go through levels, you'll just go down a level or go up a level every single time, I guess, for feeling of accomplishment or feeling of loss, Lord only knows. And in addition to that, you can only go play with somebody within 500 ranks of yourself. But what the big information is, this is where they said that presently, if you were above rank 60, you were in the top 6% of all of Overwatch players. So, mainly...
I placed at 61 and haven't played a lot of Overwatch.
I started in at 58, and I was just maining Mercy back whenever everybody was just like, oh, Mercy gets no, like, supports get nothing whenever you do ranked in the first couple of days.
I haven't even played that much, and at least ranked, I haven't played like any ranked, and I placed at 60, so easy peasy it's slipping into the DMs of that 6%, you know what I'm saying?
47%, boys. Rank 47, let's go.
Okay. Am I the only one that's seen the light of 70 here?
Yes.
Oh,
probably.
The rest of us have real lives and jobs. Not
feels bad, man.
I live with a female, so I don't really have much of a life.
I feel that.
So tell us about the glory that is in the 70s and where the seagulls and the moons play.
It's still awful. I don't know. It's kind of like the grass is always greener. It's like, oh, when I get here, it's gonna be better. It's like when I get 70, it's gonna be better. When I get 80, it's gonna be better. It never gets better.
But see, now all that's gone with the new 5,000 system. See, it's
now when I get 3,200, it's gonna be better.
Exactly.
It'll be like League of Legends. When I get into Gold League, I'm the best. Yeah. But now when you get to Gold League, you run into the most arrogant people that think they're the best, and
that happens in every single game, though. You could feel it.
That is true.
That bracket in the 50s area was just like, everybody sucks and you're holding me back, and it's the League of Legends equivalent of Silver 1.
Silver and Bronze.
But one of the things I did kind of like is that you can't, like, once you hit a rank, you're not going to be deranking back down. So, like, it's like you get to Platinum or Gold, let's say Platinum for Joneskies level, you get into Platinum, you're going to stay Platinum. So no matter, even if you go on a bad losing streak, you're not going to drop all the way bottom out and end up in, like, Gold or whatever. You're going to stay playing against Platinum level players, which I kind of like, because one of the things that was kind of discouraging for me was not a lot of my friends play as much as I do or follow it as much as I do. So I didn't really get to play with my friends because I didn't want to lose that many levels. And anytime I did play with them, it was like, if you lost once, you just got murdered.
Yeah.
Like there was one game I seriously lost 2 levels by playing with somebody and trying to help them level, because I think they were like 41 or 42 whenever I was 58, and I just instantly hit 56. It was much feels bad.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm a little curious. After suffering that loss, did you keep playing?
For a little, I replayed this, and my exact comment to my friend was, "I'm sorry, I cannot carry you as hard as I need to. It's time for me to go learn how to play Genji and Tracer, because I mean I'm just a tank, freaking Mercy, like Lucio player. So it's like, look, whenever you merged with them, they were like, okay, well you're like this high level, and we're gonna match you with all these low levels. So it's now your job to carry." And I'm like, cool, I've got a shield. Everybody run, and everybody was just run through it, just like.
You were very nice on that day. If I was with my friends and I just realized I lost 2 levels because I tried to carry my low B friends or whatever it was, I can't carry for shit. I'm sorry, it's just PG. And I lost 2 levels. I think I might have had an aneurysm. Either that or I would have uninstalled Overwatch and I would have blamed the world for all my problems from then on out. I would have went to Irvine, California, stand at Blizzard's door, and say my rank matters.
So what you saying, Rube? What's your opinion on the whole leveling
Hashtag
system?
my rank matters.
My rank matters.
Do you like it more? Or you like it
on
less?
shirts?
Oh, I like it more in the sense that it locks you in a place. Like a gear, you move up to a certain amount and it kind of locks you there. But I'm a little bit confused how they're going to handle, like what if someone drops, like, thousands of points after reaching, like, platinum? Like, somehow they got a luck streak, hit platinum, and then all of a sudden, like, the system actually hits them and they become the worst player ever. Then all of these platinum players are stuck with this crappy platinum player.
Well,
and there's nothing you can do about it.
my thing is, I feel like that sucks for the player in that sense too.
It sucks for them too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
if say they end up playing with, say they have a bunch of guys that were top 500 as their friends and they play with them and they get carried whether they wanted to or not to a place they don't belong, they're going to consistently be playing with players much better than them. And yes, if you're interested in getting a lot better, that's going to get you better faster, but that's going to be just such a fucking hell. It's just going to be hell on earth for like weeks until you're of that skill level.
It's like
We
it's
all-
like someone who has never played Overwatch before ever, and then just like, oh, here's the 60s, here's the 70s, have fun. Like, oh, here's your controller. Oh wait, this is Overwatch. You're supposed to be playing with mouse keyboard.
Tell Poro that. But
Everyone
that's my-
knows there's going to be like that one player who gets carried to like Moon Seagull level, and he's just going to cry the whole time he's there because every game is against Moon and Seagull.
This is true. Although he would become a super famous streamer because I would watch that all day, just watching his guy
Watch
guy
me,
just
watch me
gets-
get raised by seagull streams.
over and over and over. Oh, that'd be
but
so good.
It's funny that you mentioned that, though. The whole, someone getting carried. If they don't have it already in place now, they're likely going to implement something in the future where, maybe you can't get carried as hard as you might think. Like, you can't have someone, just and say platinum carry you all the way to gold or whatever. I'm pretty sure there's going to be that discrepancy where once you've played a certain amount of games, or maybe once you've gone on some kind of a win streak, it starts to curb your point gain or something. Like, it's, I don't know, maybe it'll like detect, okay, you're clearly playing with someone higher than you. You're getting a lot of wins. The system's going to detect that you're getting carried, or something's going to happen where maybe it sees the discrepancy. Like, okay, you're not playing as well as the guy you're grouped with, who's significantly higher than you. Maybe you're getting carried. Maybe we should curb your point gain. I don't know. I mean, something
Like that can make sense. Yeah.
I feel like Blizzard put a lot more thought into this system than they did the first one. Like, you remember back in beta whenever they put out the ranked and everybody was like, no, we don't like this. Switch it to this and do this with it. It felt like they had to very quickly modify and then get something up. So that way everybody can be content and have a competitive mode. But even whenever they launched it, it didn't feel like they were very much like, remember guys, this is just the first season. You could tell that they weren't really happy with where it was. So maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they had put some thought into that. And like maybe there'll be a bad bracket, so that way if you're stuck in gold but you don't really belong in gold, you'll just play with other people that don't belong in gold. I don't know.
Well, how I feel like this is probably going to play out, where they have your elo per se. It's not an elo system. They didn't specify it's an elo system, I don't think. Which an elo system is just you have points on a ladder and you keep gaining points to move up the ladder. But so they have that, but then they'll have like a hidden matchmaking rating, which is like your true skill score. And I think that even though you can't drop below gold, I think that it'll more than likely put you against players that are of your same matchmaking rating. If you kind of understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
The thing
and it
with
already-
this,
Go ahead. You go.
the
Ikhon.
thing with Elo is that you gain or lose points depending on who your opponent is as well. So if you're going against someone like super awesome, so you're going against Jesus himself, and you lose, you're not going to lose a lot of points. But if you go against Joneskies and you win, you'll probably gain a lot. So it depends on who you're playing against. And if you're stuck on the bottom of platinum and your MMR is like it's silver, even if you played, well, depending on how they set it up, but if you played against silvers and you're in platinum and you lost, you would lose like a lot, and then you wouldn't gain very much. So they would have to like more or less like segregate the tiers. Like you would have to have, okay, these are the actual platinum players, which is like 75%, like the bottom 20 or whatever, or like in that wishy-washy range, and then they'll play with each other until a couple of them start getting better to be able to jump up until the middle of the bracket kind of thing. Like it's pretty much like if you look at each tier as a barrel kind of thing. Like you have the bottom of the barrel that's going to be fighting each other until they can start rising towards the top of the barrel kind of thing. And then once they get that barrel, they flop over to the next one. It's like, okay, cool. Another fucking barrel. Awesome. I love Overwatch.
I think that's where
I got from all of that. I really like barrels.
I like flopping. Yeah,
barrels.
That's my jam. Just flopping
especially
around.
filled with alcohol.
That's not where all the numerics come from. If I take a wild guess, like and maybe why they did such a point range. Again, I'm grabbing at straws, but I would imagine inside the system that's why they put so much. They did the 5,000 because they didn't feel 100 was enough. Is that so that way whenever you are at the bottom down there, you'll be probably playing with the people that are at the bottom of that barrel with you are all going to be right around the same rank.
Yeah, because you could be more specific when you rise and fall, like with point gain and point loss too, instead of just being like, "Oh, I lost 1/16 of my finger on the screen." Like, "Oh, that's how much I lost," every time. It's like you have to fucking draw out a ruler on your finger.
That was my biggest piss off about last season is the fact that it seems like you would win and gain like that much of a level, and then you'd lose, and then like maybe lose 2 levels. It was. Yeah.
Yeah, this update kind of pisses me off. I already got a small ruler tattooed on my finger, so.
It cost me $200, dude. Back behind the grocery store in town, man. The dude was nice guy.
But
$200.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but on the current system, it's actually Joneskies. You may have noticed this, but playing as a full team in matchmaking, you actually got less XP than when you got solo.
It is
or
actually,
like 2 or 3 people.
Queuing as a 6-man pre-made is one of the worst things I've ever done. In Overwatch.
You always find people that you want to be friends with in queue, and they're like, "Hey, you want to make a full team?" You're like, "Sorry, bro, you're really cool, but no."
Yeah, I'm like, it's like 3 queue or bust. It's really bad. Like that's the best way to play the system, in a way. Is like if you see all the highest rated players, that's what they're doing. They may not be the best players, but they're queuing in groups of 3 and like max 4. Like that's even a stretch, because if you queue as a 6, you almost always only go against other 6s. So you're going to most of the time go against people a lot lower ranked than you, at least in my case, because like my average is generally around 72 when we would team queue as a 6 pre-made. And we'd get against like 60s and like 63 team averages. But then occasionally you go against like a 4 queue filled with players of Envious that happened a bunch. And you just tank rating, and it's awful.
That seemed to be the magic number for me too. Like I would always try to queue with, since I play usually supporter tank, I would find another supporter tank. We would just run a tank, DPS, and healer, so that way you had the contingent to like make the engine work in whatever game you were playing, and then just hope that the other 3 people could at least fill something inside of that. But now here's the thing that I know that's going to get Ikhon. He's going to want to talk about and get a whole bunch of shit off his chest about.
Lay it on me, Papa.
Stopwatches rip, maybe? No more stopwatch.
I'm out. Fuck this.
If I could actually say just one last thing on the last topic, and this is more of an extreme side. I've seen certain other games do this with like rankings, like platinum and all that stuff. Oh God, good lord! If somebody he like bunny hopped back over towards his monitor.
I have carpet, dude. I can't just slide.
You need to do the little diva emote now and just be like,
yeah.
I didn't see the diva emote.
He was just like, but basically, if you're losing consistently, and even though they said it, knowing Blizzard, casual, friendly, Care Bear, hug your neighbor. I've seen this happen before. If you get platinum, or maybe it only happens in the higher ranks like platinum and diamond and whatnot, but when you get to a certain bracket or level, if you're at the very bottom level, like lower bottom, like 1 or 2 people, whatever, or 3, whatever, at that level, and you lose like 10 games in a row, you will get demoted back to gold. Like, I've seen that happen in certain games, league included. Like, if you might get down to the bottomest pit of gold, platinum, whatever. But if you actually do go on a sadistic, masochist losing streak where it's like you've lost 9 games in a row and you're still playing ranked and you lose that 10th, you will actually get demoted. And maybe that's not only to keep a filler or a filter or whatever on the ranking system, but also to kind of give people that idea of, look, dude, you've lost a whole lot, and your mentality is probably warped. You're screwed. You're not confident. Why are you still playing? And thus, and effectively tanking other people as well. Perhaps that's a hard filter to kind of force people to go, you need to take a break. Or maybe put up a warning sign, because Blizzard's all Care Bear of, you lose 3 more games, you're gonna get demoted from this ranking. Take a break and chill.
I could see that. I could easily see people that get at the bottom of the barrel that just start trolling and just being like, well, if I can't go up, nobody can go up.
Right, like if I'm not gonna go down, so I'll just keep playing until I get a win, and you're losing game after game after game after game. You're practically throwing at this point. Yeah, that might be a thing in there. But that's all I wanted to say on the extreme side of the ladder ranking.
The spectrum, yeah. I think instead of having having like that hard cut, like once you get in the plat, you can't get back down, having just a really big buffer instead. Like the 10-game lose streak, or if you go against like nothing but silvers for a whole day and you don't win a single game, or something ridiculous like that, where it's like you're gonna have those people that get carried or whatever else. It'll be really, really hard for them to stay at those ranks, and if you're actually supposed to be in that level, it's not going to make a difference for you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not like Hearthstone, one like you have that little bit of buffer. You're like, oh, I got 1 star. If I lose 1 game, I'm still here. But if I lose a couple, it'll be fine. But if I lose like a metric shit ton of just points, then they're gonna.
When you reach that level of people just going, I'm safe, so I'm just gonna play 20 games and lose 19 of them and get 1 and be safe. It's like, no.
You ever seen Attack Torb? You want
to? Want to see an Attack Symmetra? No turrets?
But
I can play with the controller.
A lot of
76 with a controller.
A lot of this, I think, stems from issues of consistency. But I think definitely one of the things that are going to help consistency and competitive is the changes to how the game is actually played, where now everything is off a time bank system instead of that goddamn coin flip.
Pop a bless.
Pop a
Someone
bless.
needs to explain the time bank system to me.
I can do that. So,
Word.
if you played Control Point, what it was is you would go to cap both points within a certain amount of time. And if you cap both points with extra time left, you had that much time after the other team does their run to go again and try to get as many points captured as possible.
Is this the new one or the old one?
This is how the capture points were in season 1.
Okay, I thought you meant the new one. I knew that.
And
okay.
so, but now with the new one, they're doing the same exact thing, except they're implementing it into payload. So the points are just like the different sections of the payload cart now. So if I'm correct, they did say there were going to be ties, though unlikely. That makes me think that they're not going to do distance like they have before if you don't complete on the final stage. If I think they should be doing that, just because if one team can get further and do multiple runs of a map, they should be the winners, and it shouldn't come to a tie.
The distance thing is still in there. The tie only comes whenever neither team can actually do anything.
Complete
That's
a
whenever-
single point. Okay.
So, like, if it's a hybrid map and neither team can actually get to claim the payload to push it the first time, then the game
Yep.
just goes, no, you guys are tied.
It's tied. Okay, that makes sense. But the thing is, that's so unlikely that that's not going to happen that often.
Maybe in 70, dog, but
Maybe in
60s it was
70.
like every game.
It's stomp one or the other.
Yeah. It was either like one way stomp, other way stomp, reverse stomp, if you will, and then it would just be like butt head to head, like you couldn't get out spawn, and then you would switch sides and it would be the same thing. So,
Given our nature and what we do with like all the esports style stuff, my only concern with it is how much longer does it make a round? So, like, let's say you end up with like Envious, and I'm just throwing out another name here. Let's say
That's got to be Kayne.
and Reunited playing against each other, right?
Mhm.
And they both have like crazy great offenses, so they're just like flying through the payload map, and neither one of them manages to defend very well because they manage to stagger deaths or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How many times can we potentially see the same payload map played to completion before it finally ends?
Well,
And that's not my biggest gripe because that just means we get a whole bunch of good Overwatch, but at the same time, it can make what used to be a 10-minute match technically like a 45-minute match.
so how this is then going to work is you're going to have max amount of time to complete. So it's generally 10 minutes. It differs depending on the map. I know Gibraltar you do get more time because it is a longer map. But it's going to be basically 20 minutes a match if you also include the how do I want to say this? The filler sections, just like the little transitions added to that, which is only like a couple seconds each. But so it'll be like, I don't know, 22 minutes, 23 minutes
We
for
also have-
games at
You also have
max.
to remember hero selection and all that other stuff, and then I mean those can be some time-consuming sections because I mean really think about it. Like Volskaya and Temple of Anubis are considered some of the shorter maps whenever you play them in like quick play or whatever. But then whenever you play them on ranked, they're the longest ones.
It's because it's 20 minutes, and then you have the each beginning section to choose heroes is 1 minute, and then it goes down to, if I'm correct, like 40 seconds, then 30 seconds, then 20 seconds, then it'll keep going down like that. And I think it stops at 20 seconds, but I think that adds only like a superficial amount of time. So I think the max you're ever going to really see is only like 23 to 25 minutes, maybe.
That's what
If you
I-
think about it, that's
with like a 5-minute queue.
that's
so you
a
can-
short
yeah.
League of Legends game. That's a short Counter-Strike game.
we're
So,
never
like-
going to compare it to League of Legends in their 3-hour matches.
Yeah, and like Counter-Strike, generally you're gonna find 45-minute matches, and those are two like different styles of games that are probably some of the most popular in their genre right now. And so I find that like that's not really an issue for competitive for most people.
Yeah.
I don't have too big of a problem with it. I just worry about like whenever you're doing these huge tournaments that you're trying to squeeze into a weekend. Think of how long a team can potentially play now. Because if, let's say, you play a whole bunch of close matches and over a whole day, what used to be a very short, contained time frame can actually grow to be pretty long now. You know, if you get a really bad set of games in a row, and could potentially push an 8-hour tournament into a 10-hour or 11-hour tournament. And
Do you
I'd
think
make-
they would? Do you think they would start capping more teams for some of these tournaments instead of having Gosu be like 128 or whatever it is? It would be capped lower.
I would guess, well, that's if Gosu ever does a tournament again. Speaking right now, but
That
Or whatever, you don't.
yeah.
Yeah, just whoever.
I don't know. Like, I would think that would be the logical approach, is the fact that you do qualifiers on a different day, and you just have teams that are already qualified, kind of like what they've started
Like
doing
invite
some
with-
tournaments.
yeah.
So my counter argument to that is that I think that's just going to make tournaments better if they start using time bank, because that's going to make your uptime of actual gameplay so much more versus your downtime. Because right now, especially with stopwatch, you could have a 6 to 10 minute game, which is like relatively common, and then you'll have 10 minutes plus of downtime. Like even our tournaments, we'll have 5 or 10 minutes of downtime for all of our games, and some of our games are complete one-way stomps, especially in the amateur scene.
Now, this is my favorite thing about the time bank system, and I hope to God it kills stopwatch, because as a spectator, I hate stopwatch. I absolutely despise everything about stopwatch. I hate the fact that you're like getting into a game and everybody's getting their ultimates up and they're pushing in for the last point and they're just like, oh GG. I know we still have 30 seconds left, but there's no feasible way for us to push it from here to the end of the point. So we're just going to call it now. As a spectator, that pisses me off. That would be like watching a football game and somebody like trying their best to make it in, and they get to like the last 10 seconds, but they have all their timeouts, but they're like, well, running 10 yards in 10 seconds is really hard, so we're just going to say, nah, we're just going to call it
Just
here.
call it here.
With this, I hope that we can finally get to completion, we can see the plays of the game, we know whenever the game is going to end, because that pisses me off and stop.
I have never seen Mr. Matrym so triggered right now. Stopwatch is triggering him.
Everybody says that I'm gonna go. I was hoping Ikhon you go on stopwatch rant, but I'm gonna go on stopwatch rant.
Oh, okay. I can talk about stopwatch for literal years.
Let's be entirely honest. Stopwatch is not a good metric for how to measure success in Overwatch. I know it's an easily attainable one, but it's not actually a good one. The only thing it encourages is speed, not logical progression, not making the right play. It's about making the fastest play with the highest efficient chance of success. You can use multiple other factors to define a win in a game, but they're just harder to obtain in Overwatch. You could go by kills. Which team killed more people? Which team died less? Both of these are good factors, and if you apply those rules, like who dies less, it would be so much of a different game, because everybody would be running tanks and competitive, or the high-end pro level, because you would be trying to avoid dying, because if you end up both of you making it to the end, and you tie, then whoever died less, you want to have the less chance of dying. So it would be like 3 tanks and 3 supports, and that would be your professional meta. The same thing happens whenever you apply a timer on it. That's how everybody's trying to rush in as fast as they can and get back to the point. So instead of having a whole team take a flank that could take 10 seconds and guarantee a victory, they'll take a gamble on jumping into something that doesn't have as high a chance of success because there's a chance that it can go faster. And I hate that. We'll never get true competitive intellectual play as long as we still have stopwatch, and that's just the end all be all. Put stopwatch in CSGO and it's a totally different game.
Yeah, especially with how the comp scene and how Overwatch plays right now. Like, if you're gonna make a game based around objectives, especially like a payload, like you can't make the payload go faster. You know what I'm saying? Like and why try to make a race out of it at that point? Like it's not built for it. Is stopwatch in a vacuum dope? Yes, stopwatch in a vacuum is awesome. It's a cool way to play a game. You know, who does what faster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In Overwatch, I think it's just straight horseshit. Like, just to be completely blunt with you, there's so many other different things, like you were saying, Matt, that would be so much better than stopwatch. And I mean, up until this point, I mean, even at this point, Blizzard said in the past, I believe that they said Jeff posted that we would never do anything with stopwatch. Like, that's not something that we're interested in. Is it a community run format? Yes. Is it something that it's popular right now? Yes. But we're going to try to make something that actually fits the game better, and it's something that we can actually help supply with in custom games and stuff like that. So I just think it's horrible, and it's just pretty much like a what do you call it? Like a fucking.
It's like you're trying to fit a rectangle or a square into a triangular shape. It just doesn't fit.
What are those things on trend? It's a trend right now. That's what I'm looking for. It's basically a community run trend at this point, because there's nothing better, and they don't want to do what the game is supposed to be played like. Like, hey, the attacking team is trying to push the payload, you're trying to defend it. If it takes them 30 fucking minutes to get it there, and they actually get it there, they win, regardless of how long it took, because your defense couldn't beat their offense. You flip it around, the same thing. If you hold them for 30 minutes and they don't get it, awesome, you win. If they push it in 2 minutes, regardless of how fast it was, it's not the point. It's getting the payload to the end, or actually capping the points, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I don't know, just putting that time twist on something that's not made for a stopwatch format is, I just think it's horrible. Like, it's just completely horrible.
And so many of the tournaments and so many games were defined not by good, like, super phenomenal team plays or anything else like that, but one small player making a mistake. Yes, I know whenever a player makes a mistake, then the other team is better and that's why they should win, but not really. Like, sometimes you can get caught out of spawn or something weird like that. Like, let's say like Hollywood is a prime example. When you take this, after you get the payload and you push it into the first point, you're moving into the studio, that spawn in the studio switches to the back of the studio. Sometimes your Mercy can just get stuck spawning there due to bad timing. And whenever that happens, Now your Mercy's killed. Well, guess what? Now we're playing under time bank. We're not playing under time bank. Playing under stopwatch. Mercy's dead. Defending team now has to wait another 20 seconds. That's free 20 seconds based off of game spawn that somebody essentially got because of a spawn that they had no control over. I don't like whenever games come down to that, and it makes me feel like I'm not fulfilled as a spectator.
People tell me, hey, if I beat them in 5 minutes and they beat us in 10 minutes, we should be the victor because we did it faster. And that's the biggest complaint I get with people who love stopwatch and bitch at us about it. And they're looking at it at the wrong way again. It's supposed to be the objective. Regardless of how long it took, if another team was able to beat you, they beat you. Like, that's it. That's the end of the day. Like, your defense didn't hold up to their offense or vice versa. Like, regardless if it took them 20 minutes, like, something in there happened where you guys fucked up and they were able to capitalize and win. And that's what competitive play should be about, not fucking Mario Kart with Reinhardt. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for real. So, I don't know. That's my view. That's our view and all. I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in and bitch with us. Get out your fucking pitchforks.
I'd like to see them implement into the game is in competitive play, I've never liked the idea of attacking, defending, or Team 1 has a different setup than Team 2 or a different objective than Team 2. What I've really enjoyed, especially in most games, StarCraft, League of Legends, etc., the objective is the same on both sides. It doesn't matter if you're on the red team or the blue team. I wish they would add a tug-of-war type system where it's basically a payload. You capture the payload, you move it, the opposite team can kill you off the payload, and each one's trying to move it all the way back to the original player's spawn. So the further you get it towards the other team's spawn, the faster they respawn, the harder it is to keep pushing. And then it's just this back and forth push and pull of who can get it to the place better. And I think that would be a really good setup because you wouldn't need time. It would just be whoever can get it to the opposite side first.
My only say against that would be you could possibly legit have a 30-40 minute. That would be League of Legends right there. If you
That's
had
true,
no time limit,
you could have like a 30-minute or 25-minute stop where it's like this is a tie.
Whoever got it further. I think
True.
you could also do it like
Right.
whoever got it further if you don't want to deal with ties. It would work out well.
What
But I would also say, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You go, Kayne. I was going to go a little off topic, so.
I was actually gonna say, shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, okay. So, it would be interesting to see. Does anybody? Because I'm pretty sure it's pretty much a good consensus that nobody here likes stopwatch. But one thing I would like to say is, if anyone wants to play a quick devil's advocate role, as to liking or giving an opinion on why stopwatch or how it could work. And if you wanted to, how you could edit stopwatch to fit the mode of Overwatch and not per se just the fad or the trend that goes to every other game. Is anybody here? Joneskies? Joneskies, you're up. Give us the devil's advocate. Go.
I see Joneskies.
So,
Yes, sir.
with
Just
this in
stare at you
mind,
evilly the whole time.
I will talk about how Time Bank is just stopwatch in a different form. Because when you guys are saying you don't really like stopwatch because it's all about completing fast enough, Time Bank is essentially what stopwatch is, but you have a much easier time to fix mistakes. It doesn't hurt as much from when losing fights, I guess. From just one little mistake isn't going to cost you games versus a pileup of these mistakes over and over are going to cost you games just because Time Bank is more forgiving. So that's my first thing. And with stopwatch, I think that you say you're not looking at it the right way. I'll say you're not looking at it the right way. Stopwatch is a way to play the game. It's a way to look at how to play the game with the meta and the strategies versus just completing the objective. And also, the offense always has advantage. Because they're the ones that are forcing onto the enemy. They're the ones that have much more control of their ultimates. It's just like in Control Point, where it's much more apparent there, but that's why they did the time bank, because offense always has a much larger advantage than defense. And so that's why a lot of these competitive games have gone to a coin flip in first season, because offense has advantage, so more likely than not, they're going to get past the defense. The defense has to completely outplay an offensive team. And if the teams are very similar in skill, the offense is always going to complete the objective.
See, I wholly agree on one side of it, but I gotta go on a couple topics. I should have brought my notebook like we used whenever we're going on the analyst desk, Joneskies. I should have taken notes. But I do agree that yes, it is time sensitive, and both do parallel each other in time. But again, the big factor for me is the fact that one mistake doesn't screw you out of a tournament anymore. Also, we can actually play to completion now, so we're actually getting a full match, and we know whenever it should actually end. But as we develop, one of the big things that I have a problem with stopwatch is I find that it firmly discourages intellectual strategy inside of Overwatch. And the reason I say that is because right now everybody is on the bandwagon of offense always has the benefit. As we develop and if we keep playing this for years, at some point we're probably going to turn and defense is going to have the advantage because defense is going to have seen everything and they're going to have control of what offense wants. So they'll be able to play how they want to play defense on this. And they'll be sure they won't know comps and they won't know everything else like that. So they're going to get the surprise and offense will always have the spawns faster. But defense has control of what offense wants. And once we start playing around that, we're going to get to a new level of intellectual style Overwatch that can occur once we remove time. And yes, I know time back isn't it.
Yeah.
And what I can also say to you, Matrym or Matrym, you say that defense, eventually is going to have the advantage because they'll be able to have control over the offense and whatnot and kind of predict what they're going to do. I could argue and say that they might already have that. And I think that's one of the attributes that a team on defense needs to already have to date. Whether it was stopwatch or whether it's the current, just complete push to completion. That's when people always say this whole, offense has the advantage, defense has the advantage. I don't see it that way. I always see it as offense has a plan on how they want to go in. Defense needs to have a plan on how they're going to counter because they know what composition they have. It's always generally a matter of which team has knowledge and the knowledge of your players over the composition that the enemy team has. They have a Roadhog and a Lucio and Ana or whatever. They're gonna come in. They have a Reinhardt. They're gonna come in. Ana is gonna pop. The nano boost on the Reinhardt. You're gonna get the Lucio boost. So you have your Lucio. You want to get ready. You want to counter. I feel like there's not truly benefits in terms of who has the advantage. Now you could argue that certain teams might have the advantage depending on where you are at on a point and where you are at on a certain part of the map, and that it's easier to push offensively in this corridor or this hallway or this segment better than it is to defend it. That's a thing. But in terms of just generalizing offense and defense, I always feel it's just a matter of team composition and the knowledge of how the other team works. Almost like chess, knowing what the other person's going to do and how you're going to counter it. Second, when you say that the game with stopwatch, and this is me playing slightly the devil's advocate, that stopwatch discourages people from playing making intellectual play. I feel that stopwatch, I agree on one, it doesn't fit Overwatch. It doesn't fit this particular game. I think it's great in Counter-Strike, and given what you have a set medium for that game. Overwatch is way too wonky. If there's gimmicks. You have characters that do completely different things with specific set roles and have jobs. Applying stopwatch when everyone has certain jobs can make things very wonky, and it can force your mentality, and it can also force what you can physically be able to do limited. Like you said, there is one way where you can break a team's mental fortitude when it's like, oh, we got 30 seconds. I'm not going to make it to the point in time as Symmetra because I was, doing this on part 1 or whatever hero you might be playing. I'm going to have to double time it and switch to Tracer just so I can get the blink charges to make it to the point. And that's one way I can agree. It discourages that. What I will say is that what it does force you to do is if okay, we're only going to have 30 seconds if we cap this point. Get the brain going, start churning the butter, start understanding we only have 30 seconds. And in a way, it forces those teams to adapt to what they have. And it just adds a very swift, spin on the mix. It's like, okay, we got 30 seconds. What are we going to do at 30 seconds? Are we going to run around going, and start flapping our wings with like our heads cut off or whatever? Or are we going to go, okay, we have 30 seconds. We know what we need to do. We need to do this, this, this. You need to go in from that way. We need to go in from that way. We have one shot. Let's make it count. Let's do it. Meanwhile, the defense has been capitulated. They're going back. They're respawning. They don't know what you might have on the offense depending on what ults you may or may have not used. So I don't necessarily say it fully discourages. It'll piss off a majority of people, yes, who aren't fully developed and, huge strategy team, they're going to go, fuck, 30 seconds, But as a team, say if you were to get used to that meta and get used to stopwatch in a hypothetical where, say, stopwatch was not removed, it would just force people to adapt. And eventually you would have people adapting to said strategy. So I don't like it because generally, yes, it does discourage, and generally it forces a meta on the game that it just doesn't fit for. So I agree it should be gone. But in terms of fully discouraging people, I feel like it would just be a matter of forcing a different mentality of meta on people for when you do transition into those points.
Couple things to add to that. I feel like what you're saying with like the whole 30 seconds thing left, I feel like that could be directly applied with having like a time cap like we already have, in the same kind of mentality. Like, oh, you only have 30 seconds left to push the payload up to this point where they had it as well, kind of thing. But I do agree with you. I think a lot of what stopwatch does and why me personally, like, I don't like it is the whole, it's a race. Like, we have to choose it, like, it supports cheesy. It supports cheesy meta. It supports cheesy characters. It supports cheesy play instead of actually trying to do deep, like, thought out strategy. Like if you were to go to Counter-Strike and implement stopwatch to Counter-Strike, saying, hey, whoever plants the bomb faster wins, like, you wouldn't see any of these flanking maneuvers. You wouldn't see any of these deep strategies. You wouldn't see people in customs like working on their smokes and working on their positioning and working on all this other stuff. You would just see them, okay, let me see how fast I can run to this point from this point. And it would just be a lot of that. Like, implementing that into Overwatch is kind of the same mentality. It like Matt was saying earlier, like, I could flank around and I could try to help my team from a different angle as maybe a Genji or a Tracer, but I'm not going to be able to make it there because I only have 10 seconds left. Whether it be because of the stopwatch format. And if you went back to a time cap, like if you're at a point where you have 10 seconds left to push the payload back or to cap the point, then at that point their defense has just been stronger than your defense, kind of thing. The second thing I wanted to point out was the attacking versus defending thing. I look at it as, this might be the wrong way to look at it. You guys can tell me, but I look at it as kind of like a siege. Like, defense is supposed to set up like a castle, and the offense is supposed to come in and try to get into their castle. And that's why defense is supposed to use the turrets, the torbs, the all of that stuff. If we had more defensive heroes that could fortify, or that could set up structures or something, or set up static shields or something like that didn't move, it would be balance it out a little bit more. I think right now where Overwatch is, that excluding the, like, for a competitive standpoint, attacking versus defending, I think it has a good thing going. I think it needs a little bit more on each sides. If they want defending to be different from being the attacker, there needs to be more defending heroes that do specific things, or do things that the attacking team couldn't use, like shields, like walls, like whatever. Like if you had a person that could put up walls like May, but they were permanent until they shot them down, stuff like that. I think that would really tilt the edges as far as, the attacking wing always has an advantage, because at this point it's basically two attacking comps just positioned on a map weird. There's no real, like, except for like maybe Symmetra, but I have seen some attacking Symmetras, and
it's glorious. You love it, right?
Yeah,
everybody loves having an attacking Symmetra on their team.
But yeah, at this point in the meta, and this point of the game, due to mostly either map setup or how the objectives are, or just the heroes themselves, like, it's basically two of the same comp just butting heads over just areas of the map. I think there needs to be more distinctive. Okay, they're going Widow, so they're on attacking team always, or they're on the defending team always, kind of thing. There needs to be more of those. They have Symmetra, they have a Torp, so they're on defense already. Like which team is which because they have certain characters. But as of late,
meta and a defense meta.
Exactly. And as of right now, it's all the same thing. Like you have, the two Reinhardts, two McCrees, the Zenyatas. It's the same thing. It's just mirrored. So I think having some mix up would definitely help with that the attacking team always has the advantage thing, because it basically is. You basically have two of the same thing, and one's stagnant and one's dynamic, and the dynamic one's always going to win if they're more fluent and they're more able to dictate what's going on. So I think defense just needs more shit.
It's true. I mean, like, if you remember a long time ago, now we have this new meta where Kings Row, everybody charges through the, I don't know, the hotel, I think is what it's called now. You come, whenever you're going for point A, you come through and you jump in and try to come through that backside. Now most teams have adapted to where they can pull back, and you're starting to see a lot more defensive adaptation. I think it's easy to learn offense. I think it's harder to learn defense. So as we progress, we'll get a lot of interesting that's happening. So, but
Agreed.
But you mentioned Castle. So does this mean we can actually talk about castles and the new map?
Oh shit, the new map.
Yeah.
I saw the video, the YouTube video, and it looks
I
pretty
love
dope.
Cobblestone.
Cobblestone
Yeah.
is my most
Yes.
hated map.
Yes, cobblestone.
Cobblestone and marble give me absolute hard-ons whenever I see that kind of rock. I get so excited at that
talking
kind
about the
of
map.
earthly texture.
Yeah.
No, I mean it. Like when I see marble, when I see granite, when I see cobblestone versions of maps, I shudder. Meadows too. I love meadows. So seeing a mix of cobblestone and green with granite and marble, I'm like, oh, me and Mother Nature are gonna have a thing. I see that new map and I just, pebbles everywhere.
Does anyone think they could actually pronounce the name of this map?
Cobblestone.
Look here.
Einschwald?
Eichenwald.
It's
Heinschwald.
I have
It's
to remember.
Weinschwald? It's
Eichenwald.
EI
Eichenwald. I grew up in Germany.
The
Eichenwald.
W.
Eichenwald?
I should.
I don't know.
Iceland.
I'm not. I'm
Iceland.
done. I'm done trying. It's gonna be cobblestone in my eyes forever,
Mhm.
unless they change the name to something very, very American for me. Because I will struggle
A
otherwise.
little bit more American in there. Throw some cheeseburgers on top of that, please.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
that's what I'm
as you
talking
as you
about.
load in over and over and over into the map, the little voice is going to be like, "Welcome to Eichenwald." Will get burned into your head, and you'll know how to say it from that point forward.
Eichenwald. It sounds like you're saying icy bald or something along those lines.
Yeah,
Welcome to Lijiang. So no one knows if it's Lijiang or Lijiang.
welcome to Tower. That's
Pretty
how.
much.
So you don't.
Okay. So I got to say one thing that I'm super hyped about this map is we have an open air choke point for the first time. Have you guys seen that part of it where there's like a drawbridge that goes over and the
Yeah.
payload goes across
It's
and there's
pretty
just cliffs on
Mhm.
all sides, so it's just like going to be like Lucio can do whatever he wants to a whole team right there. I'm so excited about that.
So, one thing, the map is really visually striking. I mean, I don't think you have to worry about that with Blizzard making any of these maps. They're all going to be really pretty and really like just super nice. One thing I will say is there is a surprising amount of vantage points. I did not expect to see that.
There are
I
so
expected
many
The
flanks.
verticality, yeah, the verticality.
Yeah.
I expected, yeah. Just I'm watching this right now and going through the village itself is just like amazing how much verticality they have on that, and
I think it's gonna make defense a lot more fun.
I think so. It's just so much more
Mhm.
intricate. I think these skirmishes are just gonna break out, and it's gonna be.
Gonna be a
I
lot
feel
of guerrilla
bad for
fights.
our producer Chronic because he's gonna struggle to fucking keep up with what's going on.
Well, but he's also a Widow main, and you know there's so many Widow vantage
Yes, Widowmaid, it's flanker heaven, Genji, Tracer, everywhere. They're coming from all
Yo,
out of the place, like
That Hanzo
like
though.
rats through the sewage, man.
Honestly.
Kev,
I honestly feel like this map was like, if I were to look at it without knowing Overwatch, I wouldn't think it would have been an Overwatch. You know what I'm saying? It looks like it's coming from a different game. Not how it looks or just how like the setup is and stuff. So I'm
Just
pretty
the
stoked
feel,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, the feel. I'm pretty stoked to see like just new shit, new
More
stuff,
dynamic.
new everything. Just new
Like,
everything.
I'm,
So I'm pretty stoked
I'm really
on it.
curious because one, I think that Pharmacy or Pharmacy, whatever you want to call it, that's going to be crazy interesting on that map. But just the amount of crazy points that you can enter from, like there's that one tower that they have that like there's the like I think second choke or something like that it comes through, the payload comes through, and then there's this tower that's sitting right behind it. Like I could actually see Bastion professional meta on that tower because you have such a high ground advantage and there's no way for the attackers to get to it easy. Like this map might fix some of these heroes that we never see or defensive heroes we never see.
please don't talk about bringing Bastion back.
Oh man.
For the love of God.
Torb for life.
Fashion lives matter.
Torbjorn.
Bastion
Torbjorn
lives
Bastion.
matter.
Well, I mean,
back.
it's fitting since it's supposed to be like him and
Reinhardt.
Reinhardt's map, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the way it's
Mm-hmm.
going to come down with the video? Supposedly,
Pretty sure.
everything's-
Yeah. I'm really excited just to see, just to like make me go, oh, Bastion, you're so precious in whatever video they do. Because I'm gonna have like some tears rolling down just seeing some sad. I know Bastion has some sad ass story. I'm just waiting for it.
Right, I'm waiting for the story. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see
Yeah.
Bastion in that new cutscene tomorrow, taking
Is it
place on
tomorrow?
that map. Cause
Yeah.
it's on the 18th. Didn't you see how many broken Bastions? Pretty sure his cousin Greasy Bolts over there is probably just like laying there. He's like, oh man, that was my main man.
Is-
I'm waiting for
is-
some really
is his
sad
thug
voice lines
cousin.
when they get on the map. Just looking around. Bastion's like, my brothers.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
waiting
no
to
last
hear
one.
like a
titles.
Morgan Freeman narrative dialogue like on that map or something, and just like Bastion letting a tear drop and just fall from
oil,
his,
just
just an
an
oil
oil
drop,
drop fall.
just coming from his eye, and then like the bird just like lands on him and just like it pecks him and just is just like Morgan
them
Freeman
all.
voice activates, Bastion.
Who?
Bastion, it's gonna be okay. Just kill them all.
I loved that theory crafting with the devil parakeet.
Gonna make a
That was
fanfic,
the
BRB.
best.
Oh yeah, where
He's
the
graphic
bird
novel.
is actually Bastion. And you can
So are we gonna have like a Bastion Reinhardt love story now instead of the old Hanzo McCree?
Oh, I don't know if I want to see what that entails. I think Bastion is gonna have a good time though. Either way,
We're talking about like OW34.
I,
We're talking about.
OW34.
Are we really going Rule 34 here?
Korean
Um,
lingerie
versus
lays on the bed, looks over at Hanzo. It's Hanzo.
who? For last thing on the map, real quick. Who is in the throne?
The leader of the Crusaders,
Yeah.
which is the group
That's-
that Reinhardt's a part of.
Reinhardt was in.
Yeah.
Oh, look how nerdy I am. Where the map's not even out. And I'm
Right?
already- and
Hey, I'm a
all-
lore junkie myself, man. I can't wait to hear about Widowmaker's past, like for real. We saw her assassination in Alive. I want to see I want to see the emotional trauma. Was she even aware as herself, her original self, when she murdered her husband in his sleep? Was she, like, because obviously, she echoes back a couple times. I'm sorry, this is off topic. She echoes back a couple times, his name, like Gerard or whatever. Like, she misses him clearly, even though she's heartless as hell. So, was she aware as herself, unable to control her actions when she killed that man? So, it's just like, holy crap, I want to dig deep in all this lore, like what happened and all the traumatic experiences. Like, woo! I'm a lore junkie, so yeah.
Yeah, if I never played Overwatch ever again, I would still follow the lore. I would still follow the animations they put out,
it's
and
really good.
for love of God, they should do like fucking a movie series or hit up
Animated
Netflix, dog.
series, yeah.
Yeah.
Netflix series, yeah. It's
I
something
think if
small
they
or
get their CG team to make an animated series, oh lordy, they got something. They would have something special in their hands.
I mean, they're doing such a good and it's not even like they're using a whole bunch. They're just using like in-game models with a little bit extra added to them. It looks like, and the maps, and they're managing to
And
do
it's
all this.
beautiful. It looks
Can you
beautiful,
imagine
it
if they
really does.
actually just like dedicated time and like built something out of it? It's
Right.
make a whole department
Yeah,
dedicated
well-
to CGI and stuff. I mean, they got the money. right?
They have
Backed
a
by
whole
Activision and stuff.
department dedicated to CGI. Like that's
Yeah.
how all their cinematics for World of Warcraft and StarCraft, those are all in house. So
Yeah, they do all their own stuff. It's not them like going into the game client and building the animations. It's them building it from the ground up with using just the assets from the game, like the maps and all that other stuff. But there was a couple videos like behind the scenes stuff that you got to see them actually like drawing out the stuff and like animating and stuff. So it physically like or digitally is a Pixar film, like it is an animated film or movie or whatever. But they got it. They got what it takes, if you know what I mean. They just need to do it.
Blizzard's always got their cinematics.
Just
at this point.
dude,
Like every single time, like a new Blizzard thing comes out or expansion for WoW or whatever, that cinematic hits and you're just like, resist. Don't pick back up the game. Always like it's always with WoW trying to pull me back in with every expansion.
Legion, dude. I don't want to.
Dude, I hate WoW, and every time I see like WoW cinematic trailers, I'm like, why don't I play this game? Like, why am I just sitting here playing Overwatch? I could be playing WoW, dude. What the fuck? I hate that game.
I
Fuck stopwatch.
Hey
too.
Kyle. Hey
Yeah,
Kyle.
I hate
the
you.
in-game graphics.
You're fired.
Well, that's the cast today, folks.
All right, so
I guess what else do we want to talk about before we do cut it off here shortly?
I guess we got to talk about the PTR changes.
Unfortunately,
Oh,
this is
yeah,
like
PTR
this is the longest
How
thing
many?
we probably should have been talking about, but
Nah, we'll just make it real simple.
Looked it-
Genji is Rip.
And that's the show.
Let's
Genji's
go.
Rip. That's the show.
Genji is Rip.
Mercy's looking pretty good.
eh.
They've made I say she's looking better than she was before.
She's definitely better, but I don't know. I think Zenyatta's still gonna be like a relative mainstay. I think Lucio might even fall out of meta. With they nerfed his speed boost from 70, from 100% speed boost to 70% speed boost. A 30% drop is huge, man. Like I was trying it on PTR. I played maybe like 6 hours of the PTR today. I just went ham, and like I didn't like Lucio at all. He just didn't feel good at all for his speed, which is like the main reason to have him.
I'll kind of back that up. Lucio, like he's always been the mainstay in the present meta. Like every meta has run Lucio since the beginning of time, and this feels like except for whenever it was that weird 2 Zenyatta, 2 Genji,
The cancer comp as it's been called.
We'll just not even talk about the dark times. But I don't know. Like I felt like this is the first time that I actually felt Mercy might feel stronger than him. Like. And it was a peculiar feeling. Like so, I wouldn't even be surprised if we do see Zenyatta Mercy this time. Don't quote me on that, but it feels that way.
The Anna Reinhardt thing seems to be pretty popular. I don't know if that's still a thing with BTR, but having Anna and or Anna, sorry, and Mercy. I mean, that's completely
Anna Mercy. I think Zenyatta's still going to be there. I think that Zenyatta's going to be more popular, especially for everyone just playing competitive, just because. Though his Discord is down by 20%, his damage was buffed to make up for that. And so he outputs the same amount of damage himself. It's still a nerf because overall damage that like he would help provide is lessened, but he can help
do more.
He can do more on his own.
So he's just a DPS then. So he's not even a support anymore.
I mean, his healing is still good. My dog, let's relax.
Saying you get a couple of those up in there that shoot balls at people, and you got your DPS right there. You don't even need McCree at that point.
And so, well, with this we have what I like to call hit Scanzo. Hanzo, he got a projectile increase by 30%, and they also made his hitbox on his arrows back to where they were, which is big. Tree trunks. So he's hit Scanzo and he just shoots out tree trunks all over the place. And playing that, it was really good for somebody that can really play Hanzo. But I was playing with people that have played a lot of TF2 Huntsman and stuff like that. So they're used to how like that projectile stuff works. I think that you go into a game and you have like 50s and low 60s trying to run around with Hanzo. Pharah's just gonna like destroy at that point if you don't still have your McCree.
And see, that's what I think with the changes to Zenyatta, I think we're gonna see Pharah start coming back again. And with Pharah, I think we're gonna see Mercy, and I think that's gonna be the thing that might deter Hanzo players and might deter Widows, because elsewise it'd be a rough place right now. We'd have a whole bunch of Widow and a whole bunch of Hanzo coming back in. And especially with the new map, I could see that being extremely beneficial on defense.
And another thing I was also saying is, I feel like what Blizzard's trying to do, and I do like it, is that they want, especially this early in their game, with only just having released, one new hero and coming out with, all these new maps and whatnot. I think what they're afraid of doing is they don't want for people to feel like, kind of how with like Lucio, Lucio's a mainstay. You gotta have him. You know, he's been there since the beginning of time. You must have a Lucio no matter what. They want to open up the variety more. You know, Mercy pretty much fell out in terms of healing when it came to Lucio. Plus, Lucio had the speed boost, you know, of 100%. You know, and now it was just like Lucio's a mainstay. And with Mercy having gotten nerfed and Zenyatta coming in, it was like Mercy hasn't been changed. She hasn't been buffed or anything. She's useless. There's literally no reason to pick Mercy over these other two. And I feel like what they're finally doing is, you know, I give it a few weeks to maybe a month, and people are gonna get over, I feel, the discomforts of Lucio's negative speed boost, whatever. They're still likely gonna want his sound barrier. They're still likely gonna want, you know, the good AOE heals that come out with, say, a Mercy's very strong single target heals on, say, a Reinhardt or Zarya or any other single target. She might be able to help keep up, you know, that Genji or whatever, or that Junkrat or whomever it is you're using, a lot stronger now because of that 20% boost or whatever. So even with all the DPS going through, you might need to focus 2 people to take out that one guy because Mercy's very strong single target heal has been on them. So, you know, say McCree or 76, they're dishing out a lot of damage. They can be relied upon. And but they don't, you know, you don't necessarily want to use, you know, your Ana ultimate or whatever on that 76 because you don't have it, or you want to save it for someone else. Well, just bring in 76 with their ult with Mercy on them in tow, and no, it's gonna be a while before anyone can take out that 76 because of that damage. So, because of that damage mitigation. So I really feel like, you know, you're gonna get just a lot more options on the table. It's like, okay, everyone's kind of been sort of nerfed, but we can take the pieces that we feel are better for this team comp because they each have their individual strengths, and it's not one supremely overpowering all the others anymore.
Yeah, I feel like that's what, I mean, any game developer should aim for, especially in something like Overwatch. Like, in a perfect world with Overwatch, it should be all the heroes are viable. Like, all of them aren't shit. Like, there's not one that's like, oh, why are you picking him? It should be like, why are you picking him in this situation kind of thing. But I'm glad to see that at least on the support side of things, they're starting to level out a little bit. We'll probably see a bunch of changes in the future, of course, especially when they start implementing new supports. But at least it feels like they're starting to realize where they need to be with a lot of these characters. Now that they had a lot of time, a lot of feedback from the community, stuff like that. I'm happy to see that. So hopefully, maybe, you know, 6 months to a year, we'll have, you know, 30 heroes or whatever, cross our fingers, that are all on level playing fields of depending on map, depending on attack and defense, depending on, you know, whatever. So that would be the perfect world with that, I think, at least.
Right.
And I think that they're moving that way. Like, the Mei change is probably the most interesting one that they did, in my opinion. And that's where Mei's ultimate can now pass through shields. So there's no, like, you now have a way to get through a Reinhardt barrier and force a team to separate or to engage or to do something other than just hide behind Reinhardt.
Gotta love Mei.
And, I mean, yeah, she's the most annoying thing ever. And it's... But I think it gives her a very defined role. So if your team is struggling getting through Reinhardt, now you have a way to you pick a Mei and you can get by Reinhardt.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see that evolution of, okay, this is your job. This is what your hero is supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that makes me excited.
Going back to the whole attacking defense thing real quick, like what I was saying, like it's just the mirrored comps like attacking each other, like butting heads. I feel like they're starting to kind of mitigate that a little bit, at least. And now it's not just a team behind a Reinhardt versus a team behind a Reinhardt trying to scoot up to the point where a McCree can flash over the shield. You know what I'm saying? Now there's a little bit more, you know, things being like shaken up. So I'm happy. I'm happy about it.
On the counter of that, though, what you're seeing in higher metas is that instead of like the Reinhardt shield staying up for very long, the whole team focuses the Reinhardt shield and it's up for maybe 6 seconds before the damage is there. And the team either has to separate or they have to have some other strategy to keep the damage from coming in on the defending side. And so I don't think Mei's change is going to affect anything that much because currently all they're doing is they're just shooting the shield down and then it's gone. So, you know, her getting that through, all it does is they just can do it a little bit earlier, which goes with the stopwatch thing. If we can do it faster, if we just wait for her ult instead of shooting the shield down. But in the
I think
end,
it's a good initiation.
All she is she's like a not as good Zarya. Like she's like an off Zarya, because literally Zarya they can just shoot the shield damage down. Once the shield damage is down, they just group them all together and go pew pew pew, and they're all dead in one spot.
Yeah,
Well, it's pretty good.
It makes me wonder if maybe we have more shield heroes coming, because it seems to be a very focused change. Because right now,
that could be a thought.
Winston doesn't really. You don't really think about a shield. Sure, it's annoying, but it's not like the Reinhardt shield. For them to be molding to deal with a shield when Reinhardt's never been problematic in any form of fashion. You know how to handle Reinhardt. It's kind of like Bastion. You know how to handle Bastion. You know what Reinhardt does. Just don't let them do the thing that they want to do, and you're okay. This is a weird change, so it makes me think that there's something else coming. Have you guys started gathering that with a lot of these patch changes that happen? Like, they'll patch something, and everybody like, why the hell did you do this? And then like 2 weeks later, something new has been changed, and everybody goes, oh, okay, so this links back to this, that links back to this, so it's all connected. I'm starting to get that vibe now. Whenever I see something in the patch notes, and I'm like, that's real peculiar. Why? I think it's because something else that's coming or something else that's going to happen.
And I like that change. At the same time, it's almost like, we're noticing, and I like the way Blizzard's doing this. They're, like we've seen in other games, that now are basically spending most of their newer content going back to fix their older content. But basically, I like how they're being really slow paced with this. They're not rushing out and saying, let's try to bring out a bunch of heroes to where we have 50 of them, by the end of 2 years, and then realize, holy crap, all of our newer ones are the new meta, and all of our older ones are either really overpowered or so underpowered, they all need to be tweaked or otherwise fully reworked. And I like that they're being real slow with it. They're saying, okay, we're going to fix this link, or nerf, or mitigate, or do something to change this link, and then it completely changes over. And as you're saying, Matrym, you wonder why they did that, but then a couple weeks later they come out with another fix that links it all back together, and next it's a full pie again. You don't have so many toppings all over the place. It's one really nice, well done pizza that it's all nice, hot, and ready to serve. You don't have part of it that's really fresh and the other part's cold. And you go, we got to heat this shit up. Or you know what I mean.
And I like pizza, man.
I'm gonna order right after this.
I'm about to order me some pizza, so I'm actually really hungry. But that's why the pizza analogies are coming out. But that's basically what. So I really like that they're taking their time.
Did you eat 2 sandwiches at the beginning of the show?
I did just eat 2 McDoubles, a fry, and also a large cup of iced tea. I did, and also this bag of Snickers. But yeah. I'm hungry.
At this point, it was like 6 hours ago.
That was.
I did want to say something. I'm trying to remember it right now, actually, and that was that. Fuck.
Talking pizza, talking dates, linking together.
Got it. Okay, so. Chronic's gonna hate me, but in another game called Rainbow Six Siege, I've
been doing good not mentioning many names of the other games, but I think people know what I'm referring to when I say going back to fix their old content of 30-something heroes. League of Legends.
How they have their hero or new edition set up is they have a competitive season. And at the end of that season, the start of the new season, they introduce a lot of new stuff. And that's kind of how I'm seeing this. Like, they're introducing a new hero. They're probably going to be introducing something tomorrow, maybe, or there's going to be something for the new season. Like, if they could set it to, because like I don't want new content to take forever. Like, I would like it to be balanced. I would like it to be nice, polished, clean, yes, but I don't think that should take 6 months. Like Blizzard owns half the world. Like, they should be able to do that in less time. Like, look at HOTS. You know what I'm saying? Like, they put out a new hero each month. Like, if they did 2 heroes a season, where it mixed like 2 heroes in a new map a season, it would mix up the meta a lot. New balance changes throughout the whole season, not just like one a season. Like updates, hot fixes, balance patches, and then they dropped a new attack oriented and a new defense oriented hero with the new map. I think that would be a very solid medium to try to hit for Blizzard, at least in my opinion, because I think that would be dope, honestly. Like when they were doing it in the beta where they were releasing groups of heroes, it really shook things up a lot. And I think having that kind of mystery at the beginning of seasons or in the beginning of I guess seasons, or if they ended up linking like a Blizzard tournament or something with the seasons, or they can do a lot of stuff. But regardless, if they threw that mix up at the beginning of the seasons, you would be able to see what the really good players were at the end of that 2 months on each season, and the most consistent best players will be the ones that are at the top every season, regardless of patch or regardless of meta. Because there's a lot of players out there, like, not pointing fingers or anything. I know a lot that are very patch specific players, like. They're really, really, really good on one patch, and then the next patch they are the worst human beings I've ever seen in my entire life. And
So Widow mains.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah.
goes my 20-something hours Widow down the drain when they did that.
Or if you're happy right now, Hanzo mains.
Yeah, Hanzo about to come out the woodwork. I'm not going to drop any names.
I mean, you literally said woodwork. They're taking away those wood arrows, bringing in some cool entire logs.
Tree trunks.
They're bringing in the tree trunks, and they're
Straight out of
tree trunks, man.
fresh out the factory.
Straight out of Russia. Just.
But yeah, I mean that's my kind of view on it. If they went to that kind of season-based thing, or if they want to have these competitive seasons be 2.5 months, freshen it up at the beginning of the season, 2 new heroes on a map. I think that's a very easy goal to hit, and I think that would satisfy the community, satisfy me in and out of bed. So
what I would say though, in terms of the coming out with 2 heroes and all that I think that sounds great, and I agree with you entirely. I love that. Speaking on Blizzards, we have semi-devil's advocate. Not that I work for Blizzard, I can't speak for them, I don't know what they want to do, but I will say, perhaps given it's this early, and because we've yet to see, we don't know when Sombra's coming out. We're only getting all these hints that Reddit, mastermind and Rubik's cubes and figures out. But I think, given the fact that the game is still very fresh and very new, I don't know if Blizzard feels comfortable necessarily per se pigeonholing themselves to a standard that they wish to give the community to make us feel like we now need content. Giving an extreme example. Madden, 2K, whatever they bring out every year, people expect Madden every year, and what you end up getting is essentially the same game as last year with like 1 addition, and then they charge you for that. I think what I'm trying to say is that Blizzard doesn't want to necessarily pigeonhole themselves so early, not knowing how drastically the game's either going to change, either in the competitiveness in the seasons or the meta of their heroes, that they necessarily want to go, okay, guys, every season we got to come out with 2 heroes. I don't know if you want to necessarily rush the company to per se be like, okay, guys, here's a hero, not knowing the changes, and then the whole thing gets tossed and turned up like a salad, and the meta and everything's all over the place, and you get those, just even that one undone link because they didn't take their time, and it spirals out of control either real soon or way later down the line when they realize, holy crap, bunch of things back there we didn't address in a while. It's
well, let's be honest. No matter what Blizzard does, whenever it comes time to start releasing new things, people are going to be mad. Like,
they're going to be mad about everything.
Like, think about it. Like, Lucio Ball came out with all these new skins and all this other stuff, and like, hey, here's all of this free thing, surprise, and everybody's like, I don't like the fact that I can't get all the skins the way that I want to. It's like, oh, you're getting all the stuff for free, and now you're mad because you can't get all the things for free?
This is a cheap knockoff for Rocket League. Why'd you do this bit to me, Blizzard?
Yeah, no, so, no matter, like, there's always going to be people that are going to be mad. So I think that the team has been very good about just doing what they like to do and sticking to like they like to do. So at this point, I just kind of trust them. Like, coming from somebody that's dealt with a whole bunch of communities in my million years of video game playing, it feels like this development crew is it feels like it's very in touch with the people it's trying to make a game for. And I do trust them. Like, everybody talks about trusting Kaplan and Kaplan we trust. But I really do. Like, I feel like he has good intentions, and he might not always execute well. Like, whenever Season 1, and it's entirely how it performed with Coin Flip. But they had good intentions because they were trying to adjust off of something we wanted.
Right.
They gave us something, we said we don't want it, they adjusted for it, and we still didn't like what they did, and they were like, we don't really like it either, so let's keep trying. I like that honesty with it, and I want that to continue. And as long as they keep doing that, I'm willing to bet they'll make most of the base happy.
That's generally how I feel about Blizzard as a whole. There's very few game companies where I actually trust. Like you said, I trust this company. Reason why I brought that up was because, people, no matter what you do, no matter what you bring out, how you execute it, whatever, people will always find something to bitch about. Like, you will never make everyone happy. You can make all the people happy some of the time, but you will never make all the people happy all the time. Abraham Lincoln, hey! No, like, I trust this company, given their past, given what they've been able to like kind of dish out. I can tell, the devs, everyone, they've always had a good stuff of, Blizzard, especially. When is it coming out? When it's done. I mean, look at Torbjorn's comments. The memes are everywhere. Blizzard has been known and trusted over these years to bring out something when it's ready, and that's one of the reasons why I was like, I don't want them to feel pressured. I don't think they will be, but I don't want them or the community to feel like they're pressuring them to be like, oh yeah, every few seasons come out with this amount. Don't put them in a thing. Just, hey, Blizzard, if you only can come out with one per season, or whatever it is, hey, just do you, Blizz, because we trust you. You have the trust of the players and whatnot. Keep up to date. Keep talking with us. Keep communicating with us. You know what I'm saying? And just keep being earnest. And Jeff Kaplan, dude, your hair, get some gel for that, man. I love you, man. But
I guess as an ending note and to wrap up that topic, I just don't want really spaced out content. I don't want like 1 or 2 heroes a year. I just want more than that. Just give me shit to play. I'll play it. We'll love you forever.
Just give me shit to play, right?
Yeah, just give me some shit to play and I'll do it. I guess as a wrapping up note, we'll just go through and do some shout outs and whatnot. We'll call it a night. So I'm Ikhon. You can find me on Twitter at Ikhon_. Matt.
Hi, I'm Matrym. Also Matt. Keep it simple, same name. You can catch me at Matrym_GG on Twitter. Naturally, you can also find all of us here at Cow League Discord to look for us inside the staff. Join in, you want to, if you're not already a part. And we'll pass it over to, let's see, we'll go Joneskies next because he's to my right.
Okay, so this is going to take a split second. So you can find me on Twitter at JoneskiesOW. Then I also do Twitch streams and YouTube at Joneskies just on Twitch, and my YouTube is Joneskies Wow. It's a little Blizzard centric, but I think that's it for me. What about you, Ruik?
Yeah.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Ruik, London Ruik _. You can find me on Twitch, Twitch TV /Ruik_. You can find me on my website at dpetbros.com. And my YouTube's Ruik_ as well.
Kayne?
It's all on you, Kayne.
The main man, Kayne?
Close it. You know the sentence you got to close it with, too.
Get it, son. I'll give you a little bit of drum roll here with my hands.
All right, boys and girls. I'm going to tell you a story about a place called Twitter. There's a god that lives on Twitter. His name is That's Gotta Be Kayne. He has a nappy ass fro. He needs some good for men. You can help him get some of that good for men, and you can show him how to take care of that nappy ass fro by following him at That's Gotta Be Kayne on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube at I ain't on YouTube, shut up. You can find my Twitch at twitch.tv/ That's Gotta Be Kayne. I'm about to get that sub button, so follow me. I'm just shitting with you, I ain't close. But no matter the circumstance, no matter your errors, no matter the checks you gotta pay, the bills you're overdue on, no matter what you own, whether you're on food stamps, Medicare, whether you're over there at the homeless shelter, no matter your circumstance, no matter if you're trying to get yourself something other than your 17th drowsy on Pokemon Go, no matter your faction, and no matter what you're doing, always and forever, stay saucy.